Epicurious is cooking up some tacos. Let's see how they turn out. If you are new to the channel, my name is James Makinson. I've been cooking for many years in the United States and over here in Europe, and I have plenty of other videos and recipes on my channel, so be sure to check those out after seeing this video. Now, let's get started.
Hi, I'm John, and I'm a level 1 chef.
I'm Lorenzo, and I'm a level 2 chef.
My name is Kelvin, and I've been a chef for 12 years.
Kelvin, where's Saul?
A little bit of money got in my life, a little bit of money got in my...
At least we have Lorenzo. He normally does a really good job. So let's take a little bet. Who do you think is going to do good? Do you think it's going to be Lorenzo? Or do you think it's going to be like the chef first, Lorenzo, and then John? Let me know in the comments.
I make this dish about every other week, and you could turn your taco dinner into a fun little taco party.
How often I make tacos, how many Tuesdays are in a month?
Taco Tuesday's big in my house, and if you're not making fresh tortillas, you're not doing it right.
He makes his own corn tortillas. To be honest, if you're making them yourself, it is better, and they're super easy to make, but you do need a tortilla press, which helps a lot. Otherwise, you have to kind of like squish it between some plates or some heavy pans. You can still do it, but it's easier with the press.
Let's turn my oven on here, my little tabletop oven here.
That's a cooktop, John, not an oven.
Now you could use this type of skillet.
I'm using a cast iron skillet. It's a great opportunity to add a great crisp outer texture.
And I actually like to make my tacos with ground turkey.
The ground beef that I always use.
Turkey, via Pavel. Ground turkey is the worst meat that you can use for tacos. It really is. If you're gonna be using ground meat, at least use ground beef or pork, but with a little bit of fat. But ground turkey, I mean, if you're on a super strict diet where you can't have any fat, okay, but they're gonna be dry as you know what. And if anyone's wondering, via Pavel is a very common expression here in Spain. So if somebody does something like crazy or wrong, or something's like a little like, oh my goodness, you can say via Pavel. What a turkey.
It's a mixture of 80-20, which means 80 lean and 20 fat, because the fat makes it yummy.
I use ribeye instead of ground beef because I think it's important that every bite of the taco, you're gonna taste the meat.
We're gonna brown our ground turkey, and I don't use any oil or anything.
No oil. What? My gosh, this is why he's using a non-stick pan, so it doesn't stick to the pan. Again, you need to add some oil or fat to this because ground turkey, especially not even cooking it with oil, so you're just cooking it. You're gonna be boiling meat in what little moisture the meat actually has in it.
It has enough fat in this, but this is a non-stick. I'll put a little bit of
Canola oil. You're making sure that we're using an oil that's not gonna overpower the flavor of the steak. So we're gonna add a little bit of kosher salt, ground pepper.
So this taco recipe might be not very traditional Mexican, I think. So this is something that growing up, my mom, who is Chinese, made. We actually didn't eat a lot of Chinese food growing up, but these tacos we definitely ate quite a bit.
John, these are not traditional tacos. Trust me, this is Tex-Mex.
This is the part that's very familiar with people. This is what everybody does.
You know, that's the beauty of cooking, is you can do whatever you want.
You need to let it sit on the heat. Smush it down.
When you're cooking a steak, you're gonna leave it alone, let it work its magic.
You don't want it to just boil. And that's when it gets gray.
Lorenzo is 100% right. You do not want to boil the meat, but it's not just for tasting good. It also adds a texture to the meat. So when you go to bite into it, you have that nice crunchy texture. It's not gonna be super crispy, obviously, but it does help.
So I'm just gonna wait for it to get a whiter color, and you'll know your ground turkey is done when there's no more pink left. Pretty easy metric.
Oh my gosh, it looks so dry. Look at that. Via Pavel.
This is what we're looking for. You have that beautiful golden brown. This is our first layer of flavor.
All right, let's flip this over. Break it up to make it look like it's actually taco meat.
The turkey created a little bit of juice, and I keep it in there. I think it's tasty. I don't know.
We know, John.
Drain this a little bit because we don't want all that fat in there. I know it's yummy.
We're gonna start adding our next layer of flavor. I'm using fresh rosemary, fresh thyme. We're gonna add the butter in stages, so in case the pan is too hot, it's not gonna burn your butter right away.
Kelvin is right. He's doing a very chefy thing too with the herbs and the butter. Normally, when we're basting or cooking a steak in butter, you don't want to add all the butter at once because the butter can burn. It can caramelize too fast and you don't want to brown the butter too quickly. So if you keep adding small little cubes of butter in, it will keep the temperature down enough to where the butter won't burn, but you still get a nice sear on the steak.
Onions, hello.
I'm not entirely sure what's in taco seasoning mix, but I just trust what's on the label because I figure it makes tasty tacos.
And that's why companies make taco seasoning. It also helps if you don't have the ingredients.
Cayenne pepper, chili powder, that's my cumin. Ooh, cornstarch.
We're gonna take the oil and the butter mix, and you're gonna pour it right over the steak. In case we miss any spots on the steak, we're gonna guarantee caramelization all over.
I don't know if anyone noticed, but Lorenzo added a little bit of cornstarch to that spice mixture. I think he's adding it so the sauce is not going to be as liquidy because cornstarch is a thickener.
Add the browned meat and the taco seasoning.
I add in about a can of just simple red tomato sauce.
So on top of the dry turkey meat, we're adding a can of just tomato sauce. What are we turning this into, like Mexican bolognese?
So the water is gonna also combine with the cornstarch that we had in our taco seasoning. So now the taco sauce that we're creating will actually kind of be thick enough and kind of adhere to the meat. It's not gonna be lost dripping down your plate.
This is an optional ingredient that I like to add on, just some red kidney beans. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. That being said, if you have issues with gas, skip the beans.
This actually reminds me of one time in France, and I remember this day was for about 500 people. My head chef was making some taco meat for these people because they wanted it, and he was making it and he added beans to it, just like this, just like what John was doing. I said, this is a little strange, you know, normally you can have your refried beans and everything, you know, Tex-Mex and all that. Normally you don't mix the beans in. And he told me, he said, well, James, this is for a bunch of French people that don't know Mexican cuisine, so not to worry.
Move the steak and let it rest.
And voila, the meat is complete.
While we're letting our meat rest, it's time to move on to the toppings.
I like to make just a vegetable mixture that I'll put on top of my taco.
A vegetable mixture? I think John means a salad. This is what he's going to be making, isn't he?
So this is gonna be my pico de gallo, folks, if you wanted to make guac with this.
For toppings, we're using fresh guacamole and a pineapple pico de gallo. Everybody makes guacamole different. I like to use some of the same ingredients I have in my pico de gallo right into my guacamole, so we're gonna cut the same ingredients. I'm using vine-ripe tomatoes. You can use any tomatoes you want, as long as they're firm.
Plum tomatoes. I do like to take the seeds out.
This is gonna prevent my guacamole and pico de gallo not to be so liquidy.
I'm making pico, I'm not making salsa.
This is true. Not everyone makes guacamole the same, especially when you come over here to Europe. Again, when you see guacamole in the grocery stores or in the restaurants, they make it into a puree. My guacamole, I normally add garlic to it. I don't add garlic to the pico de gallo. And it is important to take out the seeds and the tomatoes. Why? Because if you don't, it does make it too watery. And of course you use red onions more for the color because it helps stand out.
And just a simple dice, nothing too crazy here, not trying to impress anyone really.
Everything's diced. Everything's diced into small little cubes.
White onion or red onion?
Diced white onion.
I choose red onion. Color contrast, when we put that on top of the guacamole, it's gonna look beautiful. Cilantro.
A lot of people ask me, am I supposed to use the stems? Of course, it's the same thing. It's as good as the leaves.
And I don't enjoy the texture of the stem, so I'm just gonna remove the leaves.
Don't know the proper way to cut a cucumber, but this is how I do it. Put it into quarters, and then just right down the middle. Sometimes pieces fly too.
John, if you're watching, a few tips. One, get a bigger knife so you don't cut yourself, honestly, because the way that you're cutting, you could easily cut your thumb. The other thing, you want to peel the cucumbers. You don't have to, you can leave a bit of skin on, but it's a good idea to peel them. And it's a good idea to take out the seeds. The other thing is I would suggest cutting everything a little smaller so you can actually fit it into the taco much easier than just having big chunks.
Garlic, we're gonna microplane it in.
Mince it. So basically as tiny as possible, guys.
You're gonna get that nice garlic flavor throughout, but you're not gonna get a piece of garlic that's gonna be overpowering and bitter when you taste it. Jalapeno.
Oh my God. The seeds add a little bit more heat. I'm just taking it out. Some people just maybe can't take it. I like it.
So we wanna make sure we cut this jalapeno as fine as possible, and once in a blue, you'll get a nice little kick.
And then, hello, avocado. If it is, like if you press it in and it doesn't bounce back, it's overripe.
My weapon of choice is the potato masher.
I'm just scoring it, you guys.
So we're looking for a nice creamy texture.
What you can also do is to actually pass the avocados through a chinois, a sieve, or any fine mesh that you have. But it is a good idea to leave your guacamole a little chunky, not to make it into a fine puree. Well, it depends on how you like it, first of all, and it also depends on what you're going to be making it for. If you want this more of a puree, that's fine. You can even blend it. But if you want this a little chunky, a little more rustic, leave it into smaller cubes is fine.
I'm gonna add some kosher salt.
Salt, bring out all the flavor. Lime, you get out a lot more than this.
Gonna use about a full lime.
It keeps the avocado fresh.
This is true. Lime helps to flavor the guacamole and even the pico de gallo, anything you add it to, but it also helps to prevent the oxidation. Here's a little tip. If you're going to be making your guacamole ahead of time and you're going to be saving it for later or putting it in the fridge overnight, you want to smooth the top of the guacamole, make it flat, add a little more lime juice to the top of it, and then to take a little bit of film or the saran wrap and to press that down on top. It's just to make sure that the top of the guacamole will not turn brown or black. You don't want it to oxidize. And if it does oxidize, it's not a big deal. It's just not sightly. It's not very good. But you can scrape that off and then serve the rest of it.
And now the most important part is to taste. And if it makes you dance, you're right on. Pineapple, game changer. Adding a little bit of that pineapple is gonna give you a real nice freshness to this dish. Main ingredient to this pico de gallo is pineapple, so we wanna make sure that it's pineapple heavy.
I've never tasted pineapple in my pico, but if you do want to change this a little bit, you could also make a very nice mango salsa. That goes very well.
I'm actually gonna wrap things up with the last couple toppings. Iceberg lettuce.
I'm just gonna do nice, simple dice here. Nothing too fancy. Now that my veggie mixture is complete, just gonna give it a nice little mix. And there you have it. Beautiful veggie mix to put on top of my taco meat.
The veggie mix is too big. It looks like a salad to me. Honestly, it looks like a salad.
Next is my cheddar cheese. Oh, I know it's easy to buy those packs that are already shredded, but they taste different.
And this Mexican cheese blend, store-bought.
Cheddar.
Lorenzo's right. It's better to get a block of cheese. It's also cheaper, and just grate it yourself. Now, why does pre-grated cheese taste different? They use anti-caking agents and other chemicals to prevent the cheese from sticking to each other. And it doesn't melt the same. It doesn't taste the same. It's not the same. It's better to get good cheddar or good cheese, whatever you're going to be using, and then grate it yourself.
So these are my taco shells, and they're store-bought. Take some of the work out.
Taco shells and tortillas. Yes, I did say two different types. I like using both.
We're gonna do some fresh tortilla. We're using masa, which is basically corn flour. Salt is very important because this is your only opportunity to season the tortilla.
Masa, at least here in Spain, means dough. It doesn't mean the flour. What he is using is harina de maíz, or corn flour. And this will turn into the masa, or the dough.
I put them in the oven or the toaster for just a quick couple of seconds, gets them extra crunchy. If you leave them in the toaster or oven for too long, they get brown and will ignite like a ball of fire. So watch them with your life.
Something tells me John's been there a few times. And it's happened to me too growing up. I remember my mom putting them in the oven, forgetting about them, and them just catching on fire. The store-bought hard shell corn tortillas are super easy because they're already made, but they have a tremendous amount of oil in them. Quite honestly, you can do a test. You can take a torch or stick one in the fireplace or whatever, and you can ignite it and it will burn like a candle. That is how much oil is actually in those tortillas.
We're gonna add 1 cup of warm water. Consistency that you're looking for when making fresh tortilla, it's almost like Play-Doh consistency, if you can remember what that feels like. Here's our dough. Time to let it rest for about 10 minutes.
I'm just warming it through. I add a little bit of sour cream as my paste. That holds basically my hard shell.
Ah, so this is what Lorenzo's going to be using. He's going to be doing like a double layer taco. Interesting.
Wedged limes that I had cut. I am actually gonna use these to hold my tacos up. That's cool, come on now. I always like that. People like when I do that at home.
We're gonna roll them into little golf balls. Here we have a tortilla press. So we're gonna set this ball right in the middle. We're not gonna put too much pressure. We're just gonna let the tortilla press do its job. You're literally only gonna cook it for about 40 seconds on each side. We're gonna hide it right underneath. So the cloth is being used as a warmer right now. So while we stack up all the tortillas on top of it, it's gonna completely finish cooking the tortilla from the inside.
Lorenzo, when I come to New York, we need to make some tacos. We need to cook together. Seriously. And actually, if we could cook on Epicurious, that would be fantastic.
Got these puppies out of the oven, and they are just the way that I like them. And now the best part, we're gonna assemble our tacos. So have our taco shells here. As you remember, this was the ground turkey.
So the best tortillas are the ones that are at the bottom. Grab our ribeye.
I like to start with the cheese first. Then I go to the meat. Wow, that smells really good.
Then we have some of our veggie mixture.
Oh my goodness, they look so dry, don't they? Look at that. The ground turkey that's sitting in a bowl and you see all the water from the tomatoes and
Creamy guacamole right in the center.
I go back to the cheese. I just like cheese. Now I go to a little bit of the lettuce. Now, the
pineapple
pico de
pico de
gallo. Lime juice more. Sour cream.
And some shredded Mexican blend cheese.
A little bit of
Cilantro.
cilantro. Let's try to hit the plate. And then a little bit of Tabasco.
I think I know why Lorenzo's doing the double thing here with the soft tacos and hard tacos. Now, I'm sure many of you have had this happen to you as well, but normally when you have your taco nice and full, you have everything in it, and you go to bite, literally one side or the other will break on you as you're eating, and half of your food will fall on you. It's annoying. It happens more than once. I think Lorenzo is doing this so it catches any of the hard tortilla shells that break, and that way you don't have any taco on you.
There you have it, homemade tacos.
It looks really good, guys.
You know, visually the taco looks stunning.
Let's see what everybody says though. I think everybody will say that they taste delicious. What they should do is taste each other's with these tests.
Moment of truth, time to dig in.
Let's try out these tacos.
If it makes you dance, we did good.
That's exactly how I remember my tacos always tasting.
Well, overall, I have to say that I think Lorenzo did a great job, but for me, I think the order of, well, the best is actually the order in which we have all the cooks and the chefs. But let me know, how do you make your tacos at home? What do you make them with? How do you make them? And is your style a little more like John's, level 1? Or is your style a little more like Lorenzo? Because I think between the two of them shows pretty much the dynamic between the average family on how they make them at home. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was very entertaining to see everyone cook, and I kind of want to make tacos tonight for dinner, to be honest. I have to get some ingredients. I can't get all the ingredients easily though. But in any case, let me know your thoughts. Be sure to check on this next video coming up here. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification, and I will see you again very soon. Until then, have a great time, enjoy your tacos, and take care.